put too much emphasis on this devotion of honoring the heart of Jesus. His heart is actually in that tabernacle. If you receive the Eucharist on a regular basis, one thing that is most consoling about that is that you're actually receiving Jesus' body, blood, soul, divinity, and that his heart is actually beating. It is still alive in the host. There's been recent Eucharistic miracles. We've seen the different bloodstained hosts where Jesus actually begins to bleed in the host. And so really it's just an awesome mystery that you can never really totally comprehend, but we'll do our best. We'll do our best to kind of, like I said, remind ourselves of how good Jesus, remind ourselves about his heart, And I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about one of my favorite verses is in Isaiah 55. It talks about how the Lord's ways are so far above our ways as the heavens are above the earth. And I say that quite often in my own prayer, when I'm thinking my own thoughts, when I have my own plans, when I just think something's going to go this certain way, and I just have all of these great, wonderful ideas, and then the Lord just totally shows me that, Brian, that was nice, you had a great idea, but my idea is so much better than yours. Just please let me show you that my ways are so much better than your ways. And it's so true. It's so true in the walk with the faith. Time and again, Jesus is showing us that, my ways are so much better than your ways. You didn't have a heart like Jesus to model, to actually look at and examine, where would we be as human beings? We would be we know where we would be. We know where that leads us. Our hearts are stone. They're just so stony. They're so, it just takes for some of us, it takes a lot of chiseling, It takes a lot of our, a friend says it's like putting rocks in one of those tumbling wheels, or you can imagine you put all these rocks in there, and then you just keep breaking off the rough edges, and you just tumble it, or the image of the water, coming over, and you think it's thousands of years, where you see a stone and it's actually smoothed over. And we're actually hoping that in our lifetime, which is very short, for some of us, we may only have a couple days, for some maybe 50, 60, 70 years at the most. But in that time, we're hoping, wow, Jesus, I just actually want a real fleshly heart like yours, that actually beats, has compassion, loves. If it was me, I would have never dreamt and imagined or put forth as, all right, everybody, like on a Friday night, we're going to go and sit in a church, and we're going to pray, and we're going to read scriptures, and we will even look at our own self and say, wow, I really need to change. Some of the other characteristics of First Friday are confession. We don't have a priest here tonight, but think about that. I'm coming on a Friday. I'm giving up my Friday night, and I'm like, let's go to the confessional. All right, let's go. Seriously, how many people in America right now are getting excited about going to confession on a Friday night, getting excited about singing some songs to God? The opposite of what the world says, right? The world. And I was thinking about this, it's like all the people that were heading home after work today. And I was kind of thinking about this because I just took this office for our ministry, and I actually have to be in an office for the Friday, and I'm like, oh geez, I'm in this office, and I get off 9 to 5 and I'm driving home, and it kind of brought back all of these memories of the days when I was just trudging through the week, and I'd be like, when is Friday coming? I can't wait for Friday to get here, because really what that meant to me before Jesus was what I thought was fun, what I thought was freedom from the drudgery of life, the Monday through Friday, the humdrum of the office life, or a job that I don't even like. And then Friday would come along, and I would indulge in all of these worldly things from Friday to Sunday, and then I would just start all over again on Monday, going, when's Friday going to start again? And that was literally the cycle of my life for many, many years, many years. And as fun as it seemed at first, that yes, Friday's here, it's awesome, it's finally here. But just the tailspin of coming around to Monday, of entering into worldly things for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then just thinking you're gonna somehow start all over again. And so I was just thinking about that. I was thinking, wow, what a difference. What life am I even living now? This is so much different than I could have ever imagined, right? Jesus, you actually set this Friday up now where it's just a totally different concept of my old way of life. And it's like, you are no longer caught in a cycle, Brian. You are no longer caught in this cycle of the world. What the world says is good, what the world holds up is amazing. You're actually living a life in the Spirit. You're actually living a life of what Jesus' heart considers good, holy, righteous. And so I just want to go over a few of those things. What are some of those things? What are the contrasts of the world and Jesus' heart? Well, number one, the first thing I thought about was humility. The world just holds up all of these things that are totally opposite to humility. And again, back to the weekend with Jesus. What does that look like? The weekend of Jesus looks like sitting at home on a Friday night and being content, reading scriptures, sitting in my house. Nobody comes, nobody calls me, nobody texts, whatever. All my friends decide they want to go somewhere else, and I'm content with that. Wow, that's totally different than my old way of life. It was all based on, am I getting recognition from this person? Am I getting attention from that person? Am I seen? So that's just one thing. The other thing was just the ability to face persecution. And I was just thinking, how many times does Jesus just point to his heart and what his real heart is of going to his passion? Time and again, he tells his disciples, "It's not time yet. You think I'm going to do this? I'm actually going to do this. You have this idea of who I'm supposed to be. I'm actually setting my face towards Jerusalem, where the prophets died, where he was going to lay down his life." And so, as I was thinking about that, I thought, wow, how many, it's so weird that we honor Jesus' heart. Why don't we honor his mind? His thoughts are amazing. Let's enter into an hour-long prayer service about Jesus' thoughts, Jesus' mind. And we talk about renewal of the mind, think like Jesus, but like, as a church, we don't honor that. We don't, even in the secular society, we don't necessarily, we hold up certain intellectuals, we're like, yes, they're amazing. This person's had a great mind and they used it for good. But how much more do we honor people for their hearts? This person's heart was amazing. Soldiers, they go in and they save these people. They had this heart, they weren't like, yes, his mind was amazing. He made this great strategy to win the war. No, they're like, this soldier had a heart to go into battle and to fight for what is good and just and right. And I thought about that. I'm like, yes, that's really what it is. Like, we honor Jesus' heart because it's really the heart factor. And you're never gonna come to salvation and be like, yes, Lord, I thank you for the way you intellectually proved to me that you were God. That was awesome. Like, yeah, we honor that, but we don't have that like heart-to-heart connection as of like, Jesus, I was in my sin. I was like dark. I was in the darkest place, and you came and you pulled me out because that's your heart. You didn't stand there and give me an intellectual argument. You actually loved me and saw me in my weakest spot, and you pulled me out. Right? So I didn't want to go too long. I just wanted this to be really brief, so I'm not going to belabor those points. And I know I was a little scattered with them, but just take that to thought tonight as we honor Jesus' heart. As we learn more about his heart, it's really inexhaustible. It's kind of odd to think that. It's kind of odd to think that if I had Jesus, a beating heart sitting in front of me, and somehow they kept it alive and it was beating and I had it in a jar, would I think that, yes, the treasures of this heart are inexhaustible? Would I think that? Probably not, but with Jesus' heart, it is true. It's like the treasures of eternity are all in that heart. You will never get tired of thinking about his heart, thinking about what's on his heart. Even speaking to his heart, and I'll end with this. I love this prayer by John Henry Newman, he's a great theologian, and he would just say his motto was heart to heart. My heart it's simple. It's that simple. My heart to his heart. I'm having this heart to heart with Jesus, because Jesus' heart drew you here, because his heart wanted to be with your heart. He wanted to be close to your heart. He wanted to share his heart with you. And so that's what we're going to continue to do, whatever that looks like, whether that's sitting in silence, whether that's reading his word, whether that's just listening to him tonight, whether that's interceding for somebody that maybe isn't following the ways of Jesus. We're also here for personal conversion. We want to be honest with ourselves. We want to say, Lord, how is my heart not like your heart? And how does that have to change tonight? What can I do to change that attitude in my heart? How did that thing get in there? What is that thing that's there? It's got to go. I just want everybody to picture Jesus' heart, however that looks like, whether that's hanging on the cross, the pierced heart, or whether that's him stopping to take time to have compassion on the sick. Whether that's his heart for the outcasts, those like Matthew, the tax collector, are the different outcasts that came to him and said, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. He stopped and he heard them. And he brought healing to them. He brought mercy to them. Whether that's forgiving sinners, forgiving those who hurt him. His heart was hurt. It was afflicted with rejection. Are you afflicted with rejection right now? Are you suffering from rejection? Are you suffering from loving somebody and them not loving you in return? These are all things that Jesus suffered in his own heart. And he felt it in real time, in real space. He knows what it's like. He understands your pain. He understands your suffering. He understands your emotions. And so, Jesus, we come to you now to, number one, just to thank you for your beautiful heart and how it beats for love for us and how it's on fire for love for us, how you wish the whole world to be set on fire, Jesus. And we thank you that you're just that you're human, that you experienced what we've experienced, Lord. That we have a God that understands us. And so we want to praise that. We want to sing praise to that. We want to honor you. And we pray all this in your heart, through your heart. Amen.